Have you ever wondered how one of the greatest empires in history came to be? Our journey begins in 753 BC, a time when Rome was just a small city-state on the Italian peninsula. Legend has it that the city was founded by Romulus, its first king. But Rome was not built in a day, as the saying goes. It grew slowly and steadily over the next few centuries, accruing wealth, power, and influence. Before we knew it, Rome had transformed from a modest city-state to a thriving metropolis, a bustling hub of trade and culture. Its reach extended far beyond its city walls, its influence permeating every corner of the Italian peninsula. By now, Rome was no longer just a city, it was a force to be reckoned with, a rising power in the Mediterranean world, but Rome didn't stop there. Its ambitions were much grander, its appetite for power insatiable. By AD 275, the Roman Empire had expanded its borders dramatically. It encompassed the entirety of Italy, all the lands around the Mediterranean, and much of Europe. Even England, Wales, and parts of Scotland were under Roman rule. Imagine that. An empire that began as a tiny city, nestled on the banks of the Tiber River, had grown to dominate the ancient world. Its territories stretched from the sun-soaked sands of North Africa to the misty moors of Scotland, from the bustling bazaars of the Middle East to the rugged coastlines of Western Europe. The Roman Empire was a marvel of the ancient world, a testament to human ambition and ingenuity. But an empire of such magnitude didn't just maintain itself. It required a complex system of governance, a powerful military, and a robust economy. So the Roman Empire began as a small city and grew to dominate the ancient world, but how did it maintain its vast territories? Join us as we delve into the nuts and bolts of this magnificent empire in our next segment. How did a city-state extend its influence over such vast territories? One crucial answer lies in the formidable Roman military machine. The Roman Empire's military prowess was unparalleled, a testament to its organization and discipline. Let's delve into the structure of the Roman army. The backbone of this military machine was the legions, formations of about 5,000 soldiers, each divided into centuries of around 80 men led by a centurion. These centuries functioned as independent units, allowing for impressive flexibility on the battlefield. But an army is only as good as its soldiers, and the Roman military was renowned for its rigorous training. Every Roman soldier was a professional, dedicating 25 years of his life to the service of the empire. They underwent a rigorous training regimen, learning to march in formation, build fortifications, and master the art of hand-to-hand combat. Their training was so severe that the Roman writer Vegetius once wrote, "The Romans conquer in training what they conquer in war." Equally important to the Roman military's success were the tactics they employed in battle. They were masters of battlefield strategy, often outmaneuvering their enemies with clever tactics. The famous Roman testudo or tortoise formation is a prime example of this. It was essentially a shield wall, with the front and sides protected by shields and shields held over the top to protect against arrows. This formation allowed Roman soldiers to approach enemy fortifications with relative safety, demonstrating their strategic ingenuity. Yet the Roman military was not only about brute force, it was also about building and maintaining roads, aqueducts and fortifications, which enabled rapid troop movements and secured the empire's vast territories. This combination of military discipline, strategic acumen, and engineering prowess made the Roman military an effective force and the backbone of the empire's expansion. The military might of the Roman Empire was indeed a force to be reckoned with, but an empire isn't built on force alone. What makes an empire stable and orderly? Let's delve into the Roman Empire's system of law and governance, which was instrumental in maintaining stability and order throughout its vast territories. The Roman law, or jus civile, as it was known, was a complex but efficient system. It was a combination of statutes, precedents, and interpretations, which was much like the legal systems we see in many modern societies. The most significant aspect of Roman law was the creation of 12 tables, the earliest attempt at a law code in Rome. This legal code was a comprehensive guide for citizens, covering everything from property rights to criminal offenses. It not only brought transparency to Roman society, but also laid the groundwork for the legal systems of many Western countries. But laws alone were not enough. The governance structure was equally important, so Let's talk about the Senate and the Emperor. The Senate was a political institution that played a significant role in the administration of Rome. It was made up of patricians, or the noble class, who held lifelong positions. The Senate was responsible for financial affairs, foreign relations, and also had a say in military matters. Then we have the Emperor, the most potent figure in Roman governance. The Emperor had absolute power, and his word was law. However, despite this autocratic rule, many emperors understood the importance of the Senate and often sought its counsel. The interplay between the Senate and the Emperor, along with the established legal code, created a balance of power. This balance, while not always perfect, contributed significantly to the stability and longevity of the Roman Empire. It allowed Rome to maintain order across its diverse provinces and cultures, a feat that is still admired by historians today. Rome's governance and legal system provided a stable framework, but what about the daily life of its citizens? Stay tuned as we delve into the everyday life and culture of the Romans in the next segment. Can you imagine what daily life was like in the Roman Empire? Let's journey back in time and walk the cobbled streets of Rome, where life was a medley of the mundane and the majestic. A typical Roman day started with a light breakfast, often a simple affair of bread and cheese, perhaps with a few olives thrown in for good measure. The midday meal was similarly modest, with the grand cena or dinner being the main event. This was a lavish affair for the wealthy, featuring multiple courses, exotic dishes, and copious amounts of wine. But what about entertainment, you ask? Well, the Romans knew how to have a good time. They enjoyed theatrical performances, gladiatorial games, and chariot races. The Grand Colosseum, which could hold up to 50,000 spectators, was the venue for many of these events. Moving on to housing, the rich lived in grand villas with elaborate courtyards and beautiful mosaics. These homes were often staffed by slaves who took care of everything from cooking to cleaning. In stark contrast, the poor lived in insulae, multi-storied apartment buildings made of wood and brick. These buildings were often cramped and lacked basic amenities. Education in Rome was highly valued. Wealthy children received private tutoring in subjects like rhetoric, philosophy, and literature. They also learned to speak Greek, as it was considered the language of the educated. On the other hand, education for the poor was a luxury they could seldom afford. Just like in any society, life in Rome was a tale of two cities. For the wealthy, it was a life of opulence and leisure, filled with banquets, games, and education. For the poor, it was a life of labor and struggle, with little opportunity for upward mobility. Despite the stark differences, there was a sense of unity among Romans. They shared a common language, a common legal system, and a common way of life. This sense of unity, coupled with their innovative spirit, is what made Rome one of the greatest civilizations in history. Life in Rome was a mix of luxury and struggle, but all good things come to an end, don't they? Every empire has its sunset, but what led to the fall of such a vast and powerful entity? The Roman Empire, once a beacon of power and innovation, did not fall in a day. It was a gradual decline, a series of unfortunate events, if you will, that led to its eventual demise in AD 476. Let's start with the economic troubles. Rome was a bustling marketplace, a hub of trade and commerce. But beneath the surface of prosperity lay a ticking time bomb of economic instability. A heavy reliance on slave labor led to a stagnating technological advancement. As the empire expanded, the cost of maintaining roads, bridges, and fortifications soared, straining the empire's coffers. Inflation ran rampant as emperors devalued the Roman currency to meet the escalating expenses. Next, we turn to the military issues that plagued the empire. The Roman legions, once the pride of Rome, began to crumble under the weight of corruption and disloyalty. A lack of discipline, coupled with the hiring of foreign mercenaries who had little loyalty to Rome, eroded the once formidable military machine. Then there was the internal chaos. Power struggles and political corruption were rampant. Emperors were overthrown at an alarming rate, leading to unstable leadership. The empire, split into the Eastern and Western Roman empires, struggled to maintain unity. Adding fuel to the fire, invasions by the Visigoths, Vandals, and other barbarian tribes further weakened the empire. The final blow came with the sacking of Rome by the Visigoths in AD 410 and later by the Vandals in AD 455, leading to the eventual collapse in AD 476, when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustus, was overthrown by the Germanic king Odoacer. So, the mighty Roman Empire had its rise and fall, leaving a legacy that shapes our world even today.